Yo, 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 what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Glassman's World. I'm Dan the Glassman, and we're about to get started here making a few things for today. Finally got oxygen refilled about a week or so ago, and or like actually last week on Monday or Tuesday, um, was able to get my entry in for the New Mexico State Fair Creative Arts um, art show, and we'll see if I win another award. It looks like I have a pretty good chance, being that I didn't notice any other hot glass or lamp work. Everything else was all stained glass. So I'm in a competition with a lot of stained glass artists, and so I don't know if I will get best of show because there's some really nice glass, stained glass in the competition there. So we'll see. But either way, I'm happy to have entered. We also entered our son into the Lego competition. So his Legos are now on display, which is really awesome. And my wife, she got her a bunch of handmade cards in, and what we found out was that the entry fee, I guess, let me kind of straighten this out some. I just noticed it's a little crooked. The entry fee was only $5 per person, not per entry. So that's pretty amazing, guys. We had no idea it was like that. We just figured it was going to be per entry. I could have entered all kinds of other glass. I don't know. I could have entered so much other glass. But it's all good. So let's get started here. Let me find my glasses here. Let's get our safety goggles on. And good morning. I see who's that here? Pro Cannabis Warrior. Buongiorno. How you doing? I'm glad that you caught me the other day. Thank you for tuning in. Although I wasn't really able to talk much. I think we were, I was out and about somewhere. I don't know exactly when it was, but yeah. We're about to get started here and just make a few items. I really need to make, I'm out of spirals. I got a bunch of mushrooms, but all of my mushrooms are pretty much gone because I recently got an order for 50 mushrooms. So pretty much that might be about 50 or 75 of them. So most of those are gone. And then I got an order for 100 hot air balloons, which is going to take a minute. So today when I go to the market, the Nob Hill East Market today, I'll be able to pull out my inventory and see exactly what I got and what I need to make. So, but yeah, it's pretty exciting to have gotten our glass in. Man, I wish that I could show you. Maybe, can I don't know if I could share a short with you guys or anything and then not get in trouble by copyright, even if it's my own. So yeah, the figurines, like I'm let me show you what I worked on. So this is what I made in glass, guys. This image right here. So it's these guys are known as Phil and Phyllis. They are the mascots to our New Mexico State Fair. And it just so happens that this year will be the very last state fair at the current location, where it's been at since 1938. So our powers that be here in Albuquerque in New Mexico, our governor, many others, they've decided that they're going to remove the state fair after almost 100 years of being in its location. And they're going to, I don't know where they're relocating. They haven't announced where the new location is going to be. I'm sure by the end of this state fair, they will have to announce where it's going to be. So I think it's crazy that there's no set area for it, and so I decided I was going to make Phil and Phyllis, which is the mascot to the state fair, and then I also put a little sign on it that says farewell, and not like farewell, but as in fair, like the state fair, FAIR, farewell, Expo, New Mexico. So Expo, New Mexico is the location on where it's been held since 1938. Expo, New Mexico. They're about to convert it into the smart grid city for Albuquerque. Most major cities are going to get a overhaul with the new smart grid city technology and things, getting people into the 15-minute cities and getting people, I guess, ready or programmed or converted into being prepared for like living in a carless society, and you will own nothing and you will be happy, like the World Economic Forum talked about. And so part of that plan is with the Q city, the Q, right? You all follow the Q, right? Everyone follows the Q. So Albuquerque is known as the Q city for some reason, with the green color, like as in, you know, the green light. And so the Q city is going to put us on the map, so then everyone else can basically follow suit. We've already got free public transportation here. I believe we're the only city in the nation that has free public transportation. And so they're going to convert the fairgrounds into what they're saying is going to be a really nice urban walkabout. Basically, they're going to just turn it into like a park for people to walk around and turn it into a centralized area. I think they're going to convert it into like an outdoor mall, but it's going to be live workplaces. So they're going to probably have like lofts above the retail spots, so you can live there and work there, which, you know, it's not a bad idea. But to remove the whole entire state fair for this whole plan and everything is pretty wild. And, you know, they've been putting Albuquerque on the map. A lot of content creators have been putting us on the map as far as the war zone. Albuquerque has an area known as the war zone. Which is where I live. I live smack dab in the middle of it all here. And yeah, it's quite interesting to be here, to live in the center of it all, and then to be part of a national spotlight here, where they're showing how bad we are. And you have all kinds of content creators coming from all over. You know, you got channels that are like, you know, the streets of the United States, and, you know, homeless and poverty in the U.S., and like all kinds of different videos, and people who are highlighting the rough times that are going on right now, which is known as the Great Reset. And so they're resetting everything. They're resetting all the programs, all the systems that they've created. So, and they've got everyone helping to dismantle systems. You know, all these protests and all these people who going against certain things and telling them to, defund this and defund that and all this stuff. And people don't realize that they're just going along with what the plan is already set in place. So everyone thinks that they're like creating the revolution when the revolution is already been put out there on the book. So it's quite interesting to see how the times are working and what's going on. So State Fair is doing its last year, and I decided to do a farewell Expo New Mexico entry. Like I said, I have a pretty good chance at winning, being that I am the only hot glass in the competition. Everything else that I noticed was stained glass, maybe fused. There might be one piece or two pieces that were fused glass where you use a kiln, but I didn't see any other lamp workers, no torch work. So I should win first place for my category of hot glass and torch work, but for best of show, I don't know. So we'll have to just wait and see if I get both ribbons again. And then, like I said, my wife, she entered several, like I don't know how many cards she entered for the same fee of only $5 per person. I thought it was per entry. And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna do a one time, one chance. It's like either go big or go home, right? You either make it happen with your one chance or you don't make it at all. And so I didn't want to compete with myself, and I figured I'll just do one entry. But my wife put like at least 5, 7 different handmade greeting cards. She makes these really beautiful greeting cards. I should show you guys sometime, actually. Some of the cards she makes are just phenomenal. She puts so much time and energy into them. And then she only sells them for $8. But then again, they're greeting cards, and how much can you really get for a greeting card? You can't really like ask 20 or 30 bucks for them. But the time and the energy and the effort she puts into them, they're probably worth at least 20 bucks. They're really beautiful. And they're all one of a kind. So I'm going to see if I can pull up the short. I have a short video here and I can share with y'all on my entry. I just don't know if I'm going to get a copyright strike for putting my own video up in my live stream here. Because they get crazy like that. For some reason, this thing is looking crooked. Like, is it gonna spin crooked? Oh well, that's the first one. I guess I can have a mistake on the first one. Alright, so let me see if I can pull that up real quick. We'll just open up another tab here. So we're going to go to my channel here, The Glassman's World. So I shouldn't get a copyright strike. But then again, who knows? Let's go to my channel. And then let's go to the shorts. I'll probably have to make sure it's muted. Is everything muted already? Yes, it is. Okay. So that's it right there, guys. So that took about, oh man, I think it was like 4.5 hours total. That first one was like 2.5 hours. And then the second one was at least another 2 hours. So I think it was like 4.5 hours total to make that. That was pretty intense. I was freaking out. I'm not gonna lie. I was freaking out. I was nervous. Anxiety was out the roof. It was, it was crazy. And then when I had like the one made and it was in the kiln, you know, I had to make sure that that one was safely getting refired, because I had to make one day, then let it cool, then bring it back up the temperature in the kiln the following day, and hope that it was like warm enough that I could put it in the flame again without it just boom and just shattering and exploding. Because when you're using colored glass and you've worked it and stuff, you might trap an air bubble inside and it could just explode on you like that. So, but I don't got too much time, guys. I'm like wasting so much time just talking, and I've only got one top made. So I'm just gonna get to work here. I gotta make a few tops at least. And I gotta make spirals, and I gotta make jellyfish, and I gotta make more of my amanita mushrooms. I have one mushroom left, amanita mushroom. And then, like I said, all of my glass balloons are probably gone. I need 100 glass balloons and 50 mushrooms for my next order, which is awesome, you know. At $10 a pop, I'm really pleased at that. So I just got to make them by the end of this week, hopefully. And then if that happens, I might actually be able to get us ahead for the first time in a really long time. But I got a lot of stuff that I got to pay for. We got some vehicle repairs going on. But I would like to be able to get the vehicle repaired and then hit the road and go travel a little bit and go visit some family. So that's my plan and my goal. But we'll see what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in our lives these days with my wife and I, and our kids being in school and stuff. And we got all new schedules and all kinds of stuff going on. So we'll see if we can get on that road trip or not anytime soon. So right now I'm making these spinning tops. The hardest part of this is right here, where I have to look at the reflection and then see where that center is. Usually there's heat rings that are created when I smash it down on the pad on the table. The heat sends out these like rings, and it creates like a ripple, like if you throw a rock into water and it creates a ripple. There's these heat ripples that come out from the center, and they like ripple out, so you can see the center. You just got to get that angle so you can see it. That's what helps me out with centering these. But then still, you got to have a good steady hand. You can't be like all shaking. Alright, and I think what happened was I got that dot it like fell crooked because I didn't let it set up for a second here when I was getting the puntey ready. I guess I didn't continue spinning it or something. So I think that's why it went crooked. Alright, we'll see how many more of these I can make here. But I'm grateful to be back. I know I took a little bit of a hiatus for a while and was gone. Wasn't able to get online to a lot of my Google accounts, so I was locked out of YouTube for a while there. So I couldn't even like view anything and like anything. I couldn't comment, like, share, but I was able to watch. So I was able to keep up with some of the channels that I subscribe to, some of my favorite ones I like to watch. But I also like, I subscribe to almost every channel that I've watched a video on and that I've found it to be entertaining. So I'm like probably subscribed to thousands and thousands of channels. So I don't get the same content all the time. I get a lot of different stuff from different places all over. Maybe that's why I'm so up to date with a lot of different information and things going on, because I'm subscribed to so many different channels and I haven't limited myself to what content is coming through my algorithm. You know, when you just subscribe to only a few channels, then those are usually the channels that you'll see going live or have uploaded a new video and stuff all the time. But when you have thousands of subscriptions, then they just all come in all the time, and then you have like a plethora of videos to choose from and lots of information and knowledge to obtain at that point. But like I said, I'm glad to be back, and I'll be getting those orders out from the giveaway when I got 1,000 subscribers. We're working on our 2K subscribers now. We'll do another giveaway probably in between them. Maybe when we reach 1,500 or something like that, we'll do another giveaway, a little halfway point. A few other things, I'll be making videos that are going to be a lot more kid-friendly or student-friendly. So that way teachers can show off my glass blowing in their classrooms without getting in trouble or anything. So I'm going to make sure that any of that kind of content will be censored. I'll make sure I'm not talking about all this stuff with like World Economic Forum and the smart grid cities and things like that. However, I do feel that the students need to know about that, but I will keep my content with glass blowing, beginner glass blowing lessons and demos to simply just that. And I'll be catering, like somehow I'm just going to make it to like classroom friendly glass blowing, you know, student friendly, classroom friendly glass blowing demos. And I'll make a whole new playlist specifically for those. But you know, if you subscribe to me for a while, then you know who I am and how I am and the things that I speak about, and that I like to speak the truth and get the truth out there as best as I can to as many people as I possibly can. And I don't reach too many people. Like I said, I'm barely anywhere. Oh, what's going on? Let's see. Jamila's here. It is definitely a great opportunity, and good morning. Grand rising to you as well, fam. How you been? You still got your art shows and markets going on? We got our market every Sunday in Nob Hill if you want to come by and check it out. And every first Friday of the month, I'll be doing live glass blowing demos like I'm doing here. And then these videos that I have that I shoot live, I just play them live so people can watch what I'm doing, what I'm making, and I can just mute it also. So that's another thing too. Classroom videos can just be muted, but if they want the instructional, then I'll definitely make sure to have those set up. And maybe what I'll do is I'll make those for subscription requirement, so that way you have to like become a member, subscribe and be a paid member to access that content, you know? If I'm going to be making something specifically for things like that, and I have to step out of my own comfort zone and not be able to like speak whatever's on my mind at the moment, well then I'm basically being asked to do something. I should be getting paid for that. If I'm being asked to offer a service, then I should do that. Should be getting paid for it. Anytime you are offering up yourself as a service, you should get paid for offering yourself and your time, your energy, your hard work, your expertise in whatever it is. And then again, if you are someone who works in the spiritual realm, then sometimes you don't need to get paid in monetary value. Sometimes things just come back to you in beautiful ways through karmic repayments and things like that. You know, maybe someone will trade you for service, or goods for service. Maybe someone will help you out in a time that you're in need. Things like that. But yeah, anytime you're offering service up to others, you should get paid for it. So I think that's only fair, that if I'm going to be making specific videos for specific niche or crowd or specific individuals' requests, then I should be allowed to ask them for a paid membership subscription, right? That means they have to subscribe to all my other content. Or would it be better if I just create a channel specifically for that? Maybe that would be the better thing to do, so that way I'm not accidentally drawing in students into the Glassman's world and giving them my whole entire world and all my spiel. Start talking about all the jabs and what's going on, and the World Economic Forum's the Great Reset and all kinds of stuff. You guys hear about Louisiana and that explosion? That's bad. That's really bad. Evacuations going on right now. Has slowed down for a few years, self-care and construction, but trying to pick it back up with a new gallery. Love the subscription idea. Yeah, I understand. Sometimes as artists, we got to make our own downtime, you know? And sometimes as artists, you know, we're working, always hustling, right? And we burn out. It just happens. And so Creator just says, hey, I'm taking your energy away from you right now. I'm not allowing you to create anything. I'm taking all your creative ideas away and just giving you some downtime. And you might think that it's like a harsh time or something like that, but you got to remember, Creator's always in charge and is always the one doing all these things, you know? We might look at things as good or bad, but Creator doesn't look at things as good or bad. It's just positive or negative. And sometimes we may get ourselves into a negative space and get drained, and things get taken away from us in order to rejuvenate us. But we may look at things getting taken away from us as we're being punished or something's wrong that we did or something, and not remembering that sometimes everything happens for a reason. You just got to keep that faith and just know, you know? And also, you got to also follow the signs. Sometimes things are like, you trying, you're trying and trying. Because your own ego and pride, you've invested so much time and energy into something. And it may be time to just let that something go. And sometimes things get stripped away from us. But then we fight back to get it back, right? And then it gets stripped away from us again. And then we fight to get it back again. And then it gets stripped away. And so sometimes it's best to just let go and let God, right? And then sometimes we get those signs, like, you know, you got to work hard to make those things happen. I heard the door open. Someone's awake. It could be our son. He's been waking up early these days now that he's in school. And it is almost pushing 8 o'clock. Let's see if I can get a couple other colors here made. Gotta test every single one of these out. Gotta make sure they all spin every time. And any of my $5 items, this is a $5 item right here. Any of my $5 items are pretty much quick and simple and hand annealed. They don't really go in the kiln. Every once in a while I'll throw them in the kiln. But $5 items, they're so quick and simple, and it's one of those items that are just an easy thing to replace, and they still have the strength as other glass, but maybe not as strong as annealed glass. But guarantee you'll have one of these and it'll last you for decades. Because it's still being hand annealed. It just ain't getting cooled down to that level where it's like at 900 and you hold it there for a minute. (900 degrees) is what I'm talking about, Fahrenheit. So I soak this, or I let it sit in the kiln. It's called soaking. You let it sit in the kiln at a certain amount or degrees for a certain amount of time to make sure it's fully annealed. And annealing basically just means that you're bringing all the piece of glass all up to the same temperature and then letting it cool down at the same rate. And some pieces, if they're thicker than others, will need a lot slower cooling process than others. And then some pieces like this can just be hand annealed. So these are the type of pieces that I'll make at like live demonstrations and things like that. Alright, let's see. I'll get a red in here. Yes, ma'am. Creator always in charge and always has our back. Even when we forget and we lose space, Creator's always right there. Just gotta always keep faith, or else you'll be tested. Your faith is always tested. Sometimes people ask, why do bad things happen to good people? And like I said, Creator doesn't work in good or bad. It's just a vibrational energy. Death is nothing but a cycle of life and the soul's journey, moving on from death, going back into birth and through the 4 stages of suffering, and then going back through, recycling back through again and again. until you can liberate your soul from the cycle of birth and death. And some people seem to know how to do that, and others don't. Some religions will teach how, and others don't. Some will teach that we just have one life to live, that we don't go through different karmic paths and different states of life and existence. Some people teach that we're always human, that our souls are always coming back as human and never as any other sort of life form. Some religions teach you that there's over 8 million different life forms that a soul must journey through in order to reach and attain the status of human once again. The reason why humans are so prominent over other life and other species is simply because we have the ability to understand, to observe, to acknowledge, to recognize God. All other life forms are simply just going through life, through the stages of the cycle of birth and death and the stages of suffering. The 4 stages are birth, dis-ease, old age, and death. And then back through the 4 cycles again, the sacred 4. Always the sacred 4. Some religions teach about karma and dharma. Some people think that karma only works in one lifetime because they believe that we only have one lifetime, not realizing that we have ancestral karma, past life karma to deal with as well. These are the types of things that I won't be able to speak about when I'm doing those videos. But this here is the Glass Man's World, and like I said, I may have to just do a whole different channel that's meant for like Gardenia glass classes, lessons, or something like that. You know, I do have a page on my Facebook that's set up specifically for that, which is known as Gardenia Glass Studios, and I could simply just do Gardenia Glass Studios as a channel and keep everything separate from this channel, which I think would probably be the best idea, and then just turn that channel into a subscription-based channel, membership subscription-based. Alright, let me make like 1 or 2 more, and then it's gonna be 8 o'clock. I gotta see if that's our son that's awake now or what. And then I gotta get out of here. Go set up for vending today. I try to get there a little bit after 8 so we can be set up. We try to actually set up by 9 o'clock, but it's set from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But a lot of us are already there by 9. So if you want to come out a little earlier, you're welcome to do so. We just might, like some of us might still be setting up and in the process. But, you know, you're welcome to shop around still, even if we're in the process of setting up. Some vendors come late, you know, they might have to just set up later than the rest of us. But, yeah, as long as there's at least one vendor that's up and going, you're welcome to come in and visit. We'll have music going as well. Always some sort of music playing. We don't have any live music yet. That's a suggestion I'd like to make to the host of the market, and see if they'd like to maybe we can all pool. There's at least about a dozen vendors So if we can all pull together about $5 each, we can get our live performers paid at least $50 for 1 hour time, you know? And then maybe even a little more, and then allow them to put a tip jar out as well. I'd perform for $50 for an hour or two. That's not too bad. To just bring your guitar out and play acoustically. And this would be for just solo and duets, maybe trios. But you know, if you're going to be having to split $50 between 3 people, it's probably not wise. A solo act would be the most wise at $50. And then, you know, just even playing acoustically, not even bringing an amp or microphone could also be, could work. I don't see why not. We don't have that big of an area to fulfill, and we don't want to be too loud and cause issues with our neighbors there, because there's a hotel across the street, so people might be sleeping during the day. We never know. And then there's a restaurant right there as well. 2 restaurants. There's the Thai Vegan Heritage, and then there's the pharmacy across the street. And we don't want to be blasting them out. They have music playing on their patio at pharmacy, and I don't know what sort of ambiance is inside at the Thai Vegan, but they probably got some music inside too. So you don't want to have a clash of sounds with too loud of music, so acoustic would probably be best. And then we could probably even have other kind of performances, like dance performances. I love to showcase the youth and have youth performances. That would actually be really cool, to have a youth stage and invite kids to come and play every Sunday. And just set up like a simple mic and a mic stand and a mic and an amp. I could possibly do that. I used to host a community stage at the Rail Yards Market here in Albuquerque. We had a big main stage in the back and then a community stage in the front, and that worked out really well. So yeah, we could do that. We could have the youth come and perform for us. But only solo acts, you know. We can't have big garage bands coming out. Maybe eventually on some events, like, you know, the Summerfest. We'll have the Twinkle Light Parade coming up soon, and also the State Fair Parade will be coming up on September 6th. So that's like in another 2 weeks. And then I'll be doing live glass blowing demos then, and I believe the very first Sunday of the month is the 7th. So I'll be doing back-to-back live glass blowing demos on that Saturday and then Sunday for our market. And this might be the last State Fair parade to be going down Route 66, going from one area to the fair. It's quite interesting. Or do they leave from the fair? I don't know exactly which direction they go. But I don't know if we're going to be having the State Fair parade in Albuquerque anymore. If they're moving the State Fair to Rio Rancho, are they going to have the State Fair parade like going up and down on Unser or Coors 528 out there by Intel? That'll be interesting. A whole new location for the State Fair parade. And instead of highlighting Route 66, they're just going to take everything off of Route 66. That one came out a little crooked. My hand's starting to go numb, and I felt that one. Hopefully this one spins. Alright, so State Fair opens up, I believe, September, well, before the 6th. I think they open up that Wednesday or Thursday before the State Fair parade. I think that first day is like a free day, or like only $1 or $2 to get in, and rides are only like $1 or $2. I think that's like their dollar day. Cool. That one spins. Alright, let's make one more. And then I'm going to call it. It's 7:55, so we'll see if we get this one done before 8 o'clock. It should be made within 5 minutes or less. These are my $5 items. Usually I make them in 5 minutes or less. So if it takes me 10 minutes and $10, if it takes me 20 minutes, it's $20. If it takes me 30 to 40 minutes, then it's going to be a lot more. If it takes me an hour, then you're probably spending like $100. I guess I get paid $1 a minute for these $5 items, huh? Something like that. All right, last one. That one came out a little crooked too. I think my arm's just starting to get a little weak, and I'm not able to control where I'm laying it. Alright, so once again, we're going to be at the Nob Hill East Market. That's here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Nob Hill off of Route 66, also known as Central Avenue in Nob Hill, right at the corner of Central and Solano. On the southeast corner there, just across from the pharmacy, across from the Jazz Hotel, and on the same corner is where the Thai Vegan Heritage is. Come on out, come check it out. Come get yourself some new glass. A lot of people are already out shopping for Christmas gifts and things like that. Halloween items are already out at Walgreens, so we're going to be starting to make some Halloween items, I guess, here soon. And yeah, also got to get ready for State Fair Parade and then Balloon Fiesta coming up, guys. But for today, 10 to 2 p.m. at the Nob Hill East Market. I hope you guys can come down. If you see this video, we're there every Sunday, including throughout the winter. With all the chemtrails that they spray, we don't get much precipitation these days, and so we don't get much snowpack and snowstorms. They're dissipating all of the precipitation out of the clouds and not allowing it to fall on us. So that gives us the opportunity to work through the winter and continue with the market year-round. We've never been able to do this before. It's always been too cold to run through the winter here in Albuquerque, but everything is warming up. I'm not going to say it's global warming or climate change, but our seasons have shifted, and the weather modification and manipulation has really screwed with the natural cycle of our planet. On this plane here, the planet, all the weather cycles have been shifted and altered. That's why we're seeing extreme heat on the East Coast, why we're seeing a lot of Tornado Alley has moved and shifted to the East Coast, and all those states out there, Kentucky, Louisiana, Ohio, like, you know, it's crazy seeing tornadoes up that way. We had a funnel touchdown here in Albuquerque last week. It was a water spout, they called it. I would just call it a tornado, but they want to call it a water spout. I don't think it came up from a lake. It was just rain coming down from the clouds, but they want to call it a water spout. So yeah, we'll be doing our vending market, Nob Hill East Market, throughout the winter. Come check us out. And we'll be there today from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday. Eventually, if it grows and we get too many vendors, we may have to expand back to Saturdays as well. But it seems like Sundays is where we're keeping it. Alright, you guys have a beautiful day. Love and blessings. I'm out. Well, let's make sure this last one spins. That one was the crooked one. Just give it one spin real quick. Oops. Cool. That one spins. That one spins. Alright. Good. Alright, I'm out. Thanks for watching.